But we're back.
Well, here we are.
We are back talking about the awesome you that you are, and
Yeah.
encouraging you in all that you are that's already there, right? That's what we're saying in your design. So you wanted to touch on the fear of.
Wanted to touch on fear because what happens is each personality style and whatever your unique combination is, there's things that when people or situations touch on that, we can have this reaction or this feeling, this frustration. And what we can do is, if we're not aware of why am I feeling this way, or why am I having this thought or this reaction, for lack of a better term, if we become aware of that, we can make choices in that moment that will work out best for us and for the people around us. If we don't know, we can exclude ourselves from certain situations or opportunities, or just not be empowered because of that moment. And so it helps bring understanding in that.
So what each personality style has different fears.
Different fears or frustrations that are going to be touched. Right.
Do you want to
and
do that?
I will go through that. And it's tied in directly to the strengths and the greatness that you bring. And so that's why you're actually sensitive to that. And so if you look at the creator or the D, they are the decisive action, get results type people. And so some of their fears are it being, lack of choice, not having choice, not having the freedom to choose, to move things, being taken advantage of, and, kind of failure in that space. So they're built to pioneer through tough situations. Right, so if you're a creator, a D, you're built to find a way through tough, impossible situations.
Don't phase you.
They don't phase you.
You actually want to embrace that and figure out, hey, how can we,
Right, and so you're driven to win in that, to beat the challenge of the impossibility, because you guys make possible things that are impossible. But
100%.
And so it's like, if you feel like I'm failing, I'm not winning here, that could cause you to act or react or remove yourself from something that if you'd hang in a little bit longer, you could get through and have have results. Being taken advantage of because you want to see results in action. If people aren't following through, or they're saying something but not following through on that, you can feel taken advantage of in that. And then, because you're able to make decisions and move, if you feel like you don't have the power to make decisions or choices.
Right.
So, being able to look at it and say, is it that can I manage myself in that moment? Maybe I don't have to lead this time, we can slow down just a little bit for a moment, and then we can get to the other side and do it. Or am I in a situation where it's constantly, I can't bring my strengths. Like, I don't want you to decide. And that's who you're able to be, where other people aren't. I don't want you to create results in action. Well, then you might need to adjust, move and do something else. But if it's popping up one time, hey, you can begin to evaluate.
In the moment, can just switch it and know, okay.
Is it that I'm not able to bring my strengths and I'm actually going to waste my time here? Right. Or is it just a situation here or there? Hey, I don't always have to be the leader. It's okay if I'm not making the decisions today at this moment. But that is part of the strength I bring, is decision making.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the creator. There's any of you on there and you think that's you, say me. Which is awesome.
Which is awesome, yeah.
Okay.
So then we have the advancer, which is the I.
That's me.
Yeah. What do you know of any of yourself that you would say?
My fear of rejection or social rejection, like where people don't understand me or just being accepted for who I am, or that's a big one.
That's probably a big one, sure. Because part of that is because the advancers such as inspire and motivator and communicator, that it's like, well, the rejection part is if people aren't going to hear what I have to say or be inspired by that because I'm bringing that strength,
Right.
you know, what's going to happen there. And so,
Right.
as well,
The communicate what I communicate or convince, like that's my style.
That experience that comes out.
That it's not, received or it's not bringing the impact that I have experienced for myself. And then so, like, you gotta drink this coffee, it's amazing, this is what it did for me, and then it's gonna do the same thing for you. It's kind of like, wow. And then I'm like, no, not for me. Like,
and so in that, being a communicator or an advancer of ideas, it's like, well, if you can be overly concerned, like what if people don't want to hear from me or don't want like what I'm saying, what am I going to do? And so just realizing, hey, you are meant to, you're built for larger groups communicating, but not everyone is going to be excited about what you're excited about. But there are going to be people that are excited about that.
Yeah.
So because you're built for that larger group and motivated and inspiring, if you feel like somebody doesn't agree or buy into that, you can be like, well, why am I being rejected? But your strength, again, is to inspire and motivate. Yes. As well as, you can be concerned about not having the change or the experience, being limited in that.
Right.
And
not like no fun,
the freedom,
the mundane, the routine. It becomes really like
But you find having people like you on a team or in the family, whatever it is, you're creating this fun environment that's healthy.
Right.
Healthy for everybody. And makes for just a great space.
Right.
So again,
but that's not I wouldn't say that as a fear. The rejection thing is way more because it's like, if something is boring, I'm gonna bring the fun. So I'm just gonna change it and just be like, we say this thing to our kids. It's like, you want to have fun, be the fun. If you're not being fun, you can't have fun. And so it's not really like a.
Right. Well, okay.
If we're talking about fear, you know what I mean? But as soon as I feel like
a flip side, I guess, is kind of that.
I wonder about that.
Overly aggressive or negative type environment with people, because you create more of that friendly, fun environment. Can kind of tie into that.
Sure. Yeah. I hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
I learned something.
Well, yeah, because you're going to benefit because you create that fun, friendly environment or fun environment. Let's say more of that space. When it's too serious all the time or kind of grilling, focused thing, that becomes like, hey, that's where you could say, I'm out. Like, I don't want to do this. Remember, because if you react in that moment, or you could say, "Hey,
my fear."
Yes,
I'm gonna say.
But if you say, "Hey, I bring fun. I create this healthy, great environment for the team or whatever," but if we're not serious in this moment, like
nothing,
it's not something's not going to happen here. We're not going to accomplish something. So,
Okay, I could see that.
So again, in light of all of this, it's like if you push into your strengths and operate out of belief and hope, rather than reacting out of your fear, like then you're bringing your greatness. You're realizing, hey, I might be wasting energy if I have to stay in this space too long, but if I can recognize in the moment, hey, let me not react out of fear, but continue to bring my strength and my hope, my belief in who I am.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right.
Then
let's go.
Executors.
Yes.
Executors. Their fears.
One big one is bringing harm in relationships. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you bring this great stability to relationships. You bring this great connection piece where there's empathy. People are feel seen, heard, valued, all that stuff. And so one of the biggest things for you, and you're a great helper and support. So the challenge is like, if I say no, or if I make this decision, or even if I take a moment for myself, will I be hurting somebody else? You know, or if I'm not there to help and be helpful, supportive, will I be hurting someone else?
Yeah. Because it's about that connection.
It's about,
so
you bring that connection.
There's a not a danger, but like if that connection is challenged, or then that's
right. So you may find, in family, friends, or part of the team, like someone's asking you for too much help. You're overcommitting. They're not doing their part. You're doing more than your share, and it's like you're just at the point
maxed out.
You're maxed out, and you need to say no. But you're like, oh, but if I say no and I can't come and help you today, will I hurt and damage this relationship? Will I make them feel, not valued? Because you make people feel valued and important in that space.
Would you say if there's a lot of that acting out of the fear, not in a moment, but that these people will overcommit and like they want to do that out of their caring for the connection and wanting to help and see all those things that need to be done, but then overcommit, so then get overwhelmed by all the things they want to be doing for everybody.
Yeah, you can. And you can be like, end up completely out of energy, physically, mentally, all of that. And you don't have anything to give in the spaces that you really want to give. And so, again, because you bring this greatness of connection and this value for people, and people feel valued with you, and this help and support, which is amazing. And then, the not being secure, things not being stable, because you stabilize relationships, you stabilize the environment, that's great. But when there's a lot of instability, it's like, hey, what's going on? And just recognizing that. And confrontation, like strong confrontation is a big fear. So you can see
pushing
with our kids, like verbal communication. Sometimes things just need to get done, and you come in and you're like, come on, we need to get out of here. Let's go. And suddenly there's like, what? because there's that fear of confrontation, and it doesn't put them in it. It can put you in a space that's like really unstable, because you bring this relaxed type of interaction with people, friendly environment. And so,
but then is that communication part, is that I'm always, when he's talking, I'm trying to picture myself, right, and the people around me. So, but then is that more not pushy? That I have some phrasing that is a little bit negative. But I'm talking about myself. When you're driving or you're pushing in your communication, is that more the creator, or is that the advancer? And of course, I have high of both, because I recognize that in our relationship, where you do have them more of your ass, because when I come and I'm like, come on, babe, we gotta just give me the answer, figure this out, because we gotta do this, and then you're like, I'm out. So it doesn't work. I can see it. He doesn't say it, but I can see it on his face. He checks out. Right out. He checks out, because he's like, no, that's not.
Sure.
We're not gonna.
Well, for you, you have the strength of communication, and so you're going to motivate things and people by communication.
Okay. Yeah.
And so a stronger creator, a stronger D, will not use as much communication as you. Like your go-to thing when you want to move things forward is 100% verbal communication. verbal,
yes.
well, communication in general, verbal, nonverbal, it will be
let's go. Oh, it will be all over.
Expressive, right? Expressive. And
that's my problem, because I can still keep my mouth shut, but sometimes
you overwhelm the rest of us who are trying to piece it together and figure out, like, what are we doing next? You'll just like, and
Yeah. Okay. But
so again, this is not to focus on the fear side. This is to focus on, hey, you have this greatness, this hope and belief, this thing that operates within you, and to engage and lean into that versus saying, let me shrink back, and limit myself.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's for me, when I recognize this thing, it's just like, no, Esther, this is not who you are, and that's actually not. It doesn't belong to you. It's not authentic to who you are. So I can recognize it right away, and then all I need to actually differentiate is, okay, is this just a moment, right, where I can just switch it and I can flip it and I can, just put myself in that right mind that I know is here, or is it a constant thing where I'm not in the right place or environment or whatever, right?
Sure.
That's all what I need to do, and then I'm like, okay, well, if it's a moment, just throw it out the window.
Well, no, if it's a moment, like, how do I make the best choices in that moment for myself and everyone involved? So
yeah,
what will happen is, for instance, with our kids who are the higher D, the creator, if they feel like they don't have choices, they will suddenly press harder and just make random choices to overcompensate, to react to the feeling like they don't have choice, right? Yeah. And so they will try to drive in a completely opposite direction of what's happening. For the advancers, the eyes, you guys will just tend to keep speaking more and more. So if it's a moment where it's like, hey, like, it'll even happen, we'll tell a secret, or we're looking out for you and being like, hey, you misheard something, or like, now's not the right time to say that. But that trigger, it's like, well, I can't express myself. And you'll over communicate in that moment. Right. Or if you have someone, the S is if you.
Yeah, or I find too that when I recognize it, I stop communicating altogether. But that's also not the right, you know what I mean?
Right. And so that's where, again, deciding, hey, how do I manage myself? I don't just shut up, because I do bring the strength of communication and advancing of ideas and experience. And I don't need to just have no boundaries and just press harder, communicate more. Like, let me find the middle ground, and that worked the best. So, and then with the refiner, the C, they bring high accuracy, excellence, correctness. So a big thing is, being criticized. It's like, it's not good enough, or you're wrong.
Yeah.
Confrontation is another big one. You're like,
I'm laughing because in my communication style, I'm all those things where he's like, later, see you later. So we have very good moments and times of, back and forth. But then sometimes we have it just doesn't gel moments.
But with the criticism, because you put so much focus and effort on being right and figuring out the information and facts and details, when someone comes and says, hey, that wasn't right, then you can be like, well, I don't want anything to do with it. I'm out, whatever. But the thing to realize is, no matter how hard we try, we're not always 100% right. Like, perfection's not actually a thing, even though we try to be. And so that's where it's like, okay, sometimes I do get it wrong. Sometimes there's a better way. Sometimes I do not know it all, even though I've researched a bunch of things. And again, that comes from a place of the strength of research, the strength of fact gathering and information, and excellence and correctness and accuracy. And so, you know, that's amazing in who you are. But sometimes we don't have it all figured out. Then the confrontation piece again, like strong communication, challenge, negativity. Well, let's not negativity, but like disagreement as in, you know, this is not moving forward. And then, you know, the fear of not being excellent, perfect, right? Perfectionism is a strong thing. So being right.
Yeah. No, that's 100%.
You're pretty quiet today.
No, but because I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes here because it's helping to recognize it, but then to also, I'm thinking, okay, so what do we do in those moments, right? So when you recognize those fears, how do you flip them? Like, and the main thing is, we're talking more about that today, but the main thing is to keep focusing on your strengths and who you are, and recognize those things so that you don't spend all your energy, you know, in the things that you're not, basically, because it's not gonna work out well for you. It's not gonna
but also, like, so you're not removing yourself from situations or staying too long in situations, right? Exactly. It's recognizing and saying, okay, this is a moment here or there, like, so conflict is not great for the S, right? So if they're in a work environment where there's always this like disagreement, even if it's not negative, but they're trying to figure things out, but nobody can ever agree, like they bring a strong agreeability to the environment, to teams, to people. And so, like, you're gonna be completely de-energized, frustrated, stressed if that's the environment you're in 24/7 or like regularly. So then you might have to like get another job or something, because, dude, you can't operate in your strength well in that space. And so if it's this challenging conflict type space, maybe you know, maybe being a lawyer and arguing for a living is not a great space for you. Or whatever.
I'm just thinking of my kids and my executor kids with my D and I, and they are fighting and there's conflict, and as soon as that happens, they are, you know, the executor is like, so I'm like, they're in a family, they can't go anywhere other than their room.
Last night we're having
it's true.
Was it dinner or were we playing the game? What was it? Anyway, wow.
Yeah. You came home. Home. This was after dinner.
No, it was at the dinner table, and my daughter and I, like, the boys they're communicators. They're like going, but it wasn't getting along, and it was whatever. And both her and I mean, I was finished. She wasn't finished yet. We both got up. We're like, we're done. We're moving on. Like, this communication that's just disagreement.
You mean you and our executed daughter?
It's just wearing us out.
They just removed themselves from the situation at the table. Well, I was still trying to communicate, and I'm like trying to bring the positive side of him, you know.
It's like, okay, I need a breather because, like, yeah.
I was talking about the situation when you came home and there was conflict between the boys, and my executed daughter and I were doing something together, and it was nice, peaceful, whatever. And this chaos came in, for lack of a better word. And immediately she tries to divert it and starts talking about things that are totally random to anything that's happening. And, Mom, do you see the steam out of the rice cooker or whatever? Like, because the boys were coming in and she was already rolling her eyes. She's not liking this environment, right? It's like, just not.
And so what it's really doing is because of the strength she brings and who she is, it's really conflicting that. And so that's where in the moment, you know, it could be, well, I don't want anything to do with this. You know, I'm quitting this job. I'm whatever it is. Or you can say, oh, this just happened.
Right.
This one time. It's not regularly. You know, I'm good. I can still bring my strength here, and it's amazing. Right. Or you can say, this happens all the time, like every day or every other day here at work or whatever it is. I really can't bring my thing. I better somewhere else. So,
yeah.
You are awesome and amazing in your style and strength. And just, you know, don't focus so much on the fear, but just recognize, hey, this feeling, this trigger, this frustration, this thought is popping up. This is why. What do I need to do about it so I can continue to bring my greatness, my style of awesomeness to the people and situations around me? And, you know, you're fully energized and not living a drained life. I mean, it can be hard if you can't do anything about it because, our daughter we're talking a lot about the conflict side because you have that a lot with people. So she'll come home from school, kids in her class are being loud, not listening to the teacher's confronting them. Stop, blah. She comes home like, not super great day for her and feeling that. And so even working and saying, hey, is there something, how can we help support each other in that? So we give her, you know, space to talk. We talk with her to create, give her more information, create stability, which will help bring her energy up to be able to combat that de-energizing thing. And so there are different ways. If you can't do anything about it, there are ways to support yourself, you know, in the places where you have that energy drain. And support your kids, support your husband, wife, your coworkers, whoever it is. You can set up those things. So
and you can notice those things, right? I pick up on that, so I know, okay, I need to change my communication here a little bit because she's not going to, like, her walls are going up, so I need to, you know, come a little softer or slower if I want her to receive what I, you know, and understand what I'm trying to bring to her, you know.
And then, so if you go flip side, like the creator, the D, our kids who are that, you know, our son especially, he can feel like when we have soccer practice and stuff going on, you have to come home, get ready, and leave right away. You don't have a lot of time to make your own decisions and decide how it goes. Like that pressure starts freaking him out. So we give him choices so he can make decisions within those steps. And within the little... And so the still more...
feels like he has options.
As he can make decisions, he's energized. Where our daughter's like, no, just make decisions for me and tell me when we're going and we'll go. For him, it's like, we need to give you decisions within that process. Because he ultimately wants to go and play soccer, and if he's late, he's going to miss that. So we need to get him out of the door there. But if we push him too hard and remove his ability to make decisions, he also wants to combat that. So we can support in different ways. So anyway, you're awesome. Cheers.
Jason and Esther Weaver, go check us out, jasontweaver.com, if you need any help or any resources to help you understand yourself and the loved ones and people around you. We would love to help you.